Dr. Devangana Desai, and other distinguished scholars and friends. It is a great honor. I really feel very much honored, especially to be honored in a lifetime, one's lifetime, that Chhatrapati Shivaji Museum has invited me under the Dr. Devangana Desai Endowment lecture. I was particularly struck by the one line in the rules of the endowment, like that it should be a recent subject. And it just happens that in spite of what has been told about my work, art historical work, various kinds of topics, I never worked anything dealing with Kashmir, art of Kashmir. So this was intuitively for last about 2 years. I have started work on this subject, and yeah, it's important in today's context that Dr. Devangana Devangana Ben has done a very in-depth work on Hindu temple architecture. And so I thought, well, this is my recent interest, and it is also dealing with architecture. So it will be an appropriate subject for this special kind of lecture. And maybe I may be permitted to also say that Dhaki Sahab is very much respected by Devangana Ben. I also very much respect him, and my daughter Gauri also has taken his guidance. So we both also revere him very much. So this lecture is, I dedicate this lecture to Dhaki Sahab as well as to Devangana Ben. One particular point I want to say, without saying, I can also mention a few other episodes of since how long I have known Devangana Ben. Also, Saryu Ben is here. I think as when we were all youngsters, we have started knowing each other and each other's work. The Devangana Ben's book on Khajuraho temples, I was given for reviewing. At that time, I noticed that Kandariya Mahadev temple, on which there is a very important chapter in that book. There is also an essay by Ananda Kumar Swami on Kandariya Mahadev. His chapter tells about the symbolism, but doesn't really tell you what is specific in Kandariya Mahadev. And it is Devangana Ben's chapter which tells us what is specific in Kandariya Mahadev, which makes it unique. Maybe some inspiration of Devangana Ben's approach may be seen in this paper. It was surprising that as we were, I'm using the term we because occasionally my daughter Gauri, who is also known to some of you, we took recourse to internet, but expected that Archaeological Survey of India would be able to supply us photos. But it was already suggested that we do our own photography. So this is very unusual. We had to do, I should say, because there was no funding or any such thing, but we went all the way. And so we have taken about, our one photographer was with us, some 800 photos. And it is a special privilege that I will be showing you a few of those photos. So that is also another reason I feel very grateful for this opportunity. Are there architects here among the audience? It will be good if there are architects present. Revisiting Martand Temple, Lalitaditya and the Kashmir style of temple architecture. Lalitaditya, alias Muktaped of the Karakot dynasty, was the most powerful ruler of Kashmir region. Different dates are proposed for his rule: 695 AD to 732 AD or 724 AD to 760 AD. Although scholars agree to Kalhana's statement that Lalitaditya ruled for nearly 36 and a half years. According to Kalhana's Rajtarangani, that is 11th century, Lalitaditya conquered territories in the north and southwest. Tukhara, Bhotas, and Daradas. The king's prime minister, Chankuna, was from Tukhara. His campaign took him through Ganga Jamuna Doab, reaching Kannauj with its king, where its king, Yashovarman, signed a treaty with the conquering king. I'll come back to this archaeological map after some time. These are available maps which may not be very accurate, but I'm just, you can see this would be the main area under his control, and this will be areas of sphere of influence. I'll come back to this. Lalitaditya, he reached Gauda and Kalinga in east and overpowered Karnataka area in the south. Lalitaditya was equally a lavish builder and a patron of architecture and sculptural arts, which are all enumerated by Kalhana. This is all information from Kalhana I am reading out. You may notice this, I'm sure you are familiar, but this is the Vitasta river. We don't know, in Kashmir, we don't know how Jhelum comes. We call it in the Kashmiri format, Veth, Vitasta, Veth, short for Vitasta. Even most Muslims use the term Veth. The source is here, Verinag, and here we have Avantipur, and there is a town near Martand which we pronounce as Martand or Bhavan. It's a place of Shad. And this is Srinagar, and there is a place called Pandrethan, which could be the Mauryan period Srinagar. Because Pandrethan, I will be showing you one temple from there. Purana Adishthana, from there which is the old capital. Because there is a place called Pariharspur. This is not exact location. Actually, there is a Sindh also in that part, which joins Jhelum or Vitasta. It's our local Sangam. Pariharspur was the new capital built by Lalitaditya. And here is Baramulla or Varamul. From beyond that is POK. So this is the total valley. And also you know the myth of there being a huge lake and water was drained out. And of course, for river we have our own myth that it is Parvati. This river is very holy for us, but today, who considers it holy? So, Here the king also, now Paryaspur, at the confluence of Vitasta and Sindhu, which is completely in ruins now. Here the king also installed the silver statue of Parihasa Keshav. I am deliberately reading out all this because that is the only record and it's all destroyed. At Hushkapura, present day Ushkur near Varmul, he constructed a colossal vihara and stupa. Besides, he installed gold deity of Muktakeshav at Vishnu temple of Muktaswami and a stone temple of Jeshtarudra. He commissioned metal sculptures of Mahavaraha in gold and of the god Govardhandhar cast in silver. The king constructed another Buddhist vihara, Raja Vihara, when amidst a large quadrangle, a lofty chaitya and colossal statue of Buddha were installed. Lalitaditya's prime minister Chankuna built a chaitya or stupa and vihara, installing many gold images of Buddha. The king's wives, Chakra Mardika, founded the township of Chakrapur. The next queen, Kamalavati, founded Kamala Keshava, that is Vishnu Lakshmi temple. And of course, the climax of such constructions by the munificent king was the marvelous temple of Martand with massive walls inside encircling ramparts and a township, Eskalana. This spacious and spectacular Martand Temple, dedicated to the Surya, its chief solar deity of Hinduism, is located on a high plateau called Kareva in Kashmir Valley. This is geological formation, not rocks, but earth, mounds of earth, about 10 kilometers from the Anantnag town. Surprisingly, because Anantnag is not an archaeological site, town is not shown. It is the next large town after Srinagar. Anantnag would be somewhere here. Srinagar, 55 kilometers, and yeah. I'm starting with the old photographs, which show also the destruction. What kind of repairing has been done should be noted. I will not talk much about that, but photographs will show. I have arranged the photos in that way. And this is official photograph. It's not casually somebody took photograph. It is published in 1896. That is already, it is with archaeological survey. This is the east side. It is, the entrance is from the west side. You can see the entrance also in this photo. We'll be seeing present day how it looks. This is actually how it is. This is very important to notice. There is so much debris, and there was no Adhisthana. I call it Adhisthana. There is a huge terrace on which it stands. That is very important. But when that was excavated or rather revealed, there's no excavation actually, it is clearing the debris. There are these reliefs, they are very important. This triangular thing is here, which is broken because the whole roof is broken. I won't talk much about the destruction. Please notice yourself. It is horribly destroyed. Yet there is a lot of repairing also done. It is now completely in ruins, but archaeologists during the late 19th century have reconstructed its presumable form minus the Adhisthana. along with completely destroyed pyramidal Shikhara row, by comparison with the similar temple also in ruins at Avantipur, as well as those which are intact, such as at Pandretan in the vicinity of Srinagar. Martand Temple was a magnificent masterpiece reflecting the vision of King Lalitaditya, who created a unique style of temple architecture. Alexander Cunningham, the founder director of the Archaeological Survey of India during the mid-19th century, has observed regarding its location. It overlooks the finest views in Kashmir and perhaps in the world. Beneath it lies the paradise of the East, with its sacred streams, orchards, and green fields, surrounded by vast snowy mountains, seems to smile upon the beautiful valley below. The German art historian Hermann Goetz, who lived and worked in India during 1940s and 50s, while writing about medieval art in Kashmir, stressed the importance of the reign of Lalitaditya. This is quote from Goetz. That such an extraordinary reign had to be revolutionary also in the field of art speaks of itself. As an art patron, he was no longer extravagant than a conqueror. This enormous artistic activity was made possible by the immense booty which Lalitaditya brought home from his distant campaigns. Golden and silver idols, gigantic copper statues, jewelry, treasures of every type were simply the outstanding gems in an unheard display of luxury. The new art of Kashmir could bear one stamp alone, that of Lalitaditya's ambitions and dreams. For a comprehensive approach towards the study of Martand Temple, and Kashmir type of temple design, one has to bear in mind three aspects of temple architecture. A, the architectural members, their forms as well as structural principles. B, the placement of sculptures and how they, together with decorative motifs, integrate with the the total edifice. Interestingly, both A and B, first and the second, are called the fabric of architecture. C, the third aspect, are the iconography and symbolism of the deities and some of the decorative motifs. This aspect connects the temple with the pan-Indian Hindu ethos or sanskaras. It is an incomplete methodology if a Hindu temple is merely analyzed in terms of only A, that is its architectural members, forms and structures. This is the shortcoming of Percy Brown's approach. While elucidating the Graeco-Roman architectural influence on temple architecture of Kashmir. Percy Brown, because the book is very popular, its first edition was during 1940s. Percy Brown's book deals mainly with architecture. He ignored the role and iconographic significance of large number of sculptural icons integrated with Martand Surya Temple. In his own over-enthusiasm, in eulogizing Greco-Roman influence on the architecture of Kashmir region, Percy Brown surprisingly overlooked the broader pan-Indian temple architecture. It will be my endeavor to argue that it is fallacious to use the nomenclature of Indo-Greek architecture for Martand Temple. This is a short note I have prepared, what I call false notion of Greco-Roman influence. This is just to show how the site was made popular for the travelers. This is a watercolor of the same site, late 19th century. One more photograph. Earlier, I made a mistake. It is from the same series of photos, 1896. You can also see the enclosure as well as the very prominent gateway. That this is the clearance that has been happening, and now this is how the gateway and the colonnade appear. This is a massive, clearance and repairing. But nobody notices this change from the previous earlier phase when it came under archaeological survey to what we see now. This is a reconstruction. People think it is correct reconstruction. It is also, see what Cunningham gave a detailed inscription in 1848, 175 years ago. And the plinth, which I am, or Adhisthana, which I keep repeatedly mentioning, is not shown here. So they are ignorant of that. And also the entrance gate is as massive as the temple, which is not understood in this. So this is actually an inaccurate reconstruction. And we are not sure how many bhumis or layers of the shikhara, this pyramidal shikhara would be there. I think it's too much. This is just to show, because in internet this is shown as how it was in 8th century, which is not, we can't agree. Anyway, and another, this is the Avantipur temple reconstruction. This is also completely destroyed. But this reconstruction is more accurate. This is the traveler, first traveler recorded. He made a lithograph. We couldn't get better plate of this. Perhaps the confusion was initiated by the proverbially adventurer traveler Godfrey Vigne, Vigane, I pronounce it as Vigne or Vigne, who traveled through Kashmir during late 1930s, but his book was published in around 1848. Cunningham's book is published in 1848, and has given reference to Vigne. So Vigne is before, in that sense. I couldn't get the exact date of publication of Vigne's book. He was so impressed with the architectural remains of Martand, which he compared with the temple of the sun at Palmyra and the ruins of the palace at Persepolis. So the gadbad starts. Vigne claimed that Martand deserves to be ranked with them as the leading specimen of a gigantic style of architecture. In terms of a great architecture, the comparison is good. Vigne was influenced by the theory of picturesque, that is, landscape filled with strange form of architecture, provoking such questions as to what kind of human race would have conceived and built these edifices. Godfrey Vigne guessed that since Greeks were not residing in Kashmir, a European Jewish community would have come here and built this mysterious monumental architecture during the early centuries of the Christian era. Yes, they put it in early date, to 2nd, 3rd century AD. However, he had the good sense to consult Professor R. Willis of Cambridge University. The latter clearly recalled having observed Ellora caves and argued that Martand Temple was definitely the work of Hindu design and craftsmanship. He particularly drew attention to how corbelling technique of overhanging masonry was used for curved architectural forms. We will have to look for this Mr. R. Willis, who was teaching at Cambridge University in 1841. The Vigne has done a good thing. He has reproduced a letter that Willis sent him in answer to this kind of illustrations that he had sent. By late 1840s, the military engineer Alexander Cunningham, it's important, he was a military engineer. So as a military engineer, he has written about this temple. Officially toured through this monument, taking measurements, enumerating, describing architectural details and construction methods, who was equally impressed and reveals empathic enthusiasm. However, he made conjectures and guesswork based on first impressions, especially regarding the Martand Temple colonnade pillars, which he announced to be like a variety of Greek orders of pillars, in particular the Doric pillar. But significantly, his contentions are untenable and inconsistent with characteristics of Greek architecture and should have been emphatically questioned as unsatisfactory by earlier Indian architectural historians. At the outset, let me begin by quoting from her book, from her epoch-making book, The Hindu Temple, 1946, how the eminent German-Austrian art historian Stella Kramrisch has reaffirmed the objectives of the Hindu temple construction as elucidated in numerous important Shilpashastras. Yeah, this is from Cunningham's book, this illustration, and very elaborate and very well printed. And also notice we will be talking of these decorative motifs or Devakoshtas. But notice this is a traveler. I mean, one of these European travelers. You can see a lady in European dress, and this is her entourage. Sorry. Yeah, yes, there is one line I should have read, or I can read it now also. In his writings, Cunningham has mentioned, though he has not mentioned in the Hindu context, that is, Kashmiris seem to have forgotten it, this place, after the destruction in the 14th century by Sikandar, which is called Butchikan. He destroyed all temples. But he has recorded that his enquiries from Pandits only got the answer that these are Pandavalarya, that is, buildings of Pandavas. So this is significant. Though I told you already, there is a site where there is a spring where some rituals are continuing even today after the destruction more than 600-700 years ago. I am using Stella Kramrisch's note. You see, she has described the single shrine or Ekandika Prasada, and I am applying that to Pandaratan Temple because it is a single shrine, as you can see. It is before repairing, there has been repairs. I thought I'll show you before repairing. And there is also its drawing where they never understood. They have done measurements, but they never understood the proportions, concept of proportions. This is one drawing where I found one can see the proportions. You see the Peter is 1/2 of the height of the Biti wall, and the Shikhara and the Janga, same height, but that is the whole height is divided in 5 parts. 1/5 is plinth, and 1 + 1 is Bhiti, 1 + 1 is Shikhara, that kind of thing. But also that cube idea, which Stella Kramrisch talks about. The Hindu temple is the central place of another point. Please remember, certain things should be understood from the illustration. My text is slightly changed after the visit. the Martand Temple is started with the Garbhagriha, which nobody has explained. And we can see, yes. So, therefore, this analogy I am giving is meaningful. Martand Temple starts with the Garbhagriha, not with the Greek temple, Greek design. The community is, the Hindu temple is the central place of communication between God and devotee. Gifting it to the community is one of the means of attaining moksha. Vimana and prasada are synonyms. Though prasada is a sacred building and also a 3-storied palace, often compared with Mount Meru. Prasada, the temple, is built according to the tradition of Shilpashastra by the application of various proportions and measurements. The cube of the walls of the Garbhagriha, based on the square plan of the Vastu Purusha Mandala, encompasses the center, which is the seat of the deity. Thus, the pyramid or pyramidal superstructure, Famsana Shikhara, we must remember Famsana Shikhara is very relevant here, rises to the highest point. The vertical axis of the prasada passes through the center. It can also be said that the vertical axis of the prasada leads from the highest point, the summit of the finial, that is the shikhara of the body, to the center of the Garbhagriha. It is also a temple or vimana proportionately measured throughout, which assumes the role of house and body of God. When the triumphant king Lalitaditya decided to commemorate his victories by building a gigantic temple, would his learned priests and Sutradharas, Sthapatis, experts of architecture, advise or approve adopting a Graeco-Roman building design executed more than 1000 years ago at that point of time and situated thousands of miles away in the context of above-mentioned significance attached to the Hindu temple? This I am now referring to description. I use the term Kak's description. This is an important book, or rather authoritative book, because Kak was at that time, he also became Prime Minister of Maharaja, Kashmir Maharaja, at the time of partition. Earlier he was Director of Archaeology, the local archaeology survey, Kashmir, and this Greek influence thing probably enabled him to get consent from England and maybe funding from Maharaja to do this, what is still considered an authoritative book, published in 1933. There is also a report 1915-16 by Dayaram Sahani. So these are two authoritative descriptions. Some descriptions I am quoting because we cannot see those details which they have seen that time. But anyway, so here it is worth mentioning that the descriptions given by Western scholars are prepared with reference to the terminologies of Greek and Roman architecture. Yes. This drawing, surprisingly, I mean this photo, is so important. It is so important. But how it was taken, who took it, which year, this is not mentioned. And you can see, you observe the whole thing, how much has been cleared. This wasn't visible at all. And this whole huge plinth, I am distinguishing it from the actual plinth of the temple. This part is so massive, and then entrance, such impressive entrance. So the entire complex is visible here, and nobody is thinking in terms of this whole thing. Also, you see, this is the Garbhagriha part. It has started from here. So there are measurements made of horizontal length, which is about 60 feet, and if there would have been roof, this will also have been 60. And there are these two additional wings, shrines, that also makes 60 length. So, I mean, these kind of measurements. Then there are 84 pillars and etc. etc. So I can't tell you who did it, how it did it. Is archaeological survey responsible? Even for this clearing, there's no report anywhere. And I went to staff they have a Jammu office. They didn't show anything. So pata nahi. But I will also show you other things that have been done so that it is existing today. The obsessive destruction, at the same time, the intensive repairing that was required to bring it to the condition that it is now. There's no such record. Or किसी ने दिखाया नहीं, and it is not published even by the survey themselves. Yeah, this is our photo. You can see our kursi. They gave me kursi. But I want you also, pata nahi, I mean, this, I'm feeling a little over enthusiastic. नहीं आप देख लीजिए, please see these things nobody is noticing. You see, capital, pillar, there are hundreds of such things scattered around. वो कहाँ से Greek आ गया, this. And pond is there, sarovar is there. So at yes. And people are calling it as facade and entrance. Actually, it is Mukhamandap, and it is an extension and not the main entrance. And incidentally, I want to hurry. This colonnade, there is no single column in the main building. It's not based on columns. It is these trefoil arches. At Martand, the principal shrine stands in the middle of an oblong quadrangle comprising of colonnaded enclosure. The rectangular courtyard consists of 84 majestic columns, some of them fluted. Though we have, some person is mentioning they are flat facades. Some person is mentioning they are grooves. So it is not really speaking Doric flute. Facing the temple, and in the largest example of this kind in Kashmir, the quadrangle. The entrance or gateway into the shrine area stands in the middle of the western sides of the quadrangle. Yeah, I will show you. So I have already shown you the gateway photo as it is looking today. Gateway is of the same width as the temple proper. Outwardly, the Martand gateway resembles the temple itself in the disposition of its parts and then in decoration of its pilasters. The gateway is open to west and east, which probably had a wooden door. On the east end of the gateway wall, well, this is the east side or the back side. Sorry, this is the front. But such picture postcards were also sold of this monument. That was the point to be made. And now this is the. I will be coming back to this, but just what they were comparing with. We are using the term pediment for something which really should not be called pediment, because this is essential. If this is the pediment, this pediment rests on the entablature, which itself rests on pillars. Now, this tripartite structure is not at all in the main temple, our Martand Temple. Moreover, the triangle, the apex is higher, as you will see. compared to this, which they have also noted. There are other things, there is no base, the capital is very simple, and this is also a wrong way of describing. As I have been trying to say, and we can see it ourselves, it starts with Garbhagriha. So you cannot say that just because there are 3 sections in a Greek temple, therefore, temple is, our Hindu temple is based on this. Because we have the main Garbhagriha, and then it is extended. It is not that there is a front, middle, and the Garbhagriha. Also, this peristyle that is being used, it is part of the covered area. This is the last colonnade, but it is part of the covered area, whereas open colonnade cannot be called peristyle. I have a small description. Cunningham called the front as Ardha Mandapa, but it is better to call it Mukh Mandapa, because it actually, area-wise, it is the same as the Garbhagriha. So it can't be Ardha Mandapa. So that he says it answers to the front porch of classical, that is Greek buildings. The middle one called Antarala corresponds to the pronaos of the Greeks. So these comparisons are given of the Mukhmandap, Antarala and Garbhagriha, which is a wrong comparison. I want to, this is just to make you realize how much clearing has been done. The old photograph and now as the clearing has been. The main, that I'll be coming back to this arch-like shape or Torana shape. This plan may be noted, where the Adeshthana is also shown. And there is the Sarovar Kund. There is supposed to be 4 other temples like Panchayatana. And we were told that there are 1 or 2 more additional platforms existing, which could be Vedi for the Yajna. How much, the surrounding area has been cleared. This is Banda ja raha hai wahan. We were told it will be windy. So I was wearing a coat and a cap. They have extended. So kaise kiya? Actually, the locals, they also made it into a recreation park, which is a good thing. And you can see the hill. It is hill, but not rocks. So that is what is known, Kareva. And the lower area has the existing live Hindu worship place in the lower area. You can see the entrance to the enclosure, to the colonnade here. Kafi jana padta hai. Now we come to the entrance. The various things that you observe, this will be what is known as the rathas, in Hindu temple. And these are Devakoshtas. This particular lower portion, I think they have used the kind of destruction we see. This is quoted from Dayaram Sahani, 1915-16 report. As one is disfiguring with hammers all the images. Another is collecting trees and burning wood. So the stones have been put to extreme heat, and so the cracks have appeared. It is not, they are actually huge blocks. So I am little bit reading on the technique, stone masonry technique. The crucial and much admirable aspect of technical skill and construction principles in Martand is the use of ashlar limestones of huge size in horizontal trabete courses. Large boulders are turned into huge cubical forms which perfectly smoothed surfaces and right angles. In this method, the stone block becomes stable by their own weight when laid in courses one over the other. Even though some kind of mortar and occasionally iron clamps have also been used, even the columns and pilasters of the walls have been formed by these highly finished ashlar stone blocks. I met local sculptors, modern sculptors. They have studied the stone, and they say this locally, the bluish grey stone is given the name Divari. That is from which Divari, Devata, from which murtis of Devatas are carved. This advanced aspect of Kashmiri builders concerning efficient masonry has been acknowledged by Percy Brown. This is how the doubts start. It is on the expert surface. Okay. They are saying earlier monuments have different masonry, but we won't go into that question. But anyway, this is about the wonderful maybe yes, you see the descriptions. I want you to also notice this image carved here. This is the image. Then you have the trefoil arch here. You have first gable roof and second gable roof. So you get the triangular shapes which everyone is using to pediment. But this is also a miniature design of the Devakostas. And I want you to notice it because right from the entrance gate, these designs are there. Because there are sometimes now, we have three things. We have the gateway, we have the colonnade, quadrangle colonnade. We have the adhisthana, we have the actual temple. So there are three kind of structures, whether they are at different dates. But I want to draw attention, it is all integrated, all these three. And one of the observations is the miniature form of this motif. You can use the term leitmotif, which is throughout present. In all the three units, it is present. This photo, okay, Adhisthana. Yes, this is also an important photograph which I think we must notice because the entire plinth is exposed here in this photograph. I told you the aerial photo, we have no date. This is another photo where for the first time the entire plinth is visible. And so as it would have been, if it was not destroyed, in its heydays, the crowd is Muslim. So there is no photo which shows Hindus anywhere around. That is why I have showed all the old photos. I don't know what they are doing there, or is it some festival because of which, because there are also children. I thought maybe they are, groups of laborers. But anyway, people collected as if in a festival around the temple. We can just imagine, if we imagine Hindus, these are Hindus, but these are Muslims. This photo would be around the book, the 1933 book of Kak, R.C. Kak, because he is just mentioned that there is a plinth discovered. Nothing more than that about the plinth. But the first impression, looking at the plinth as well as the structure about it, looks like, yes, ऐसा plinth होना चाहिए for the whole. Actually, I have an architect is collaborating with me. When he looked at the plinth, he said, yes, the millions of tons of weight of the stone blocks of the entire temple would need a hard, solid terrace-like thing. I'm coming to that leitmotif. This is the Mukhmandap, the trefoil arch. I'll come back to that trefoil arch. But here we just imagine, as we saw in that sculpture, the triangular gable-like form, one, and there will be another for the roof. And here we have a view right from the, see how it has been so nicely cleared. So we are right at the bottom. And these rocks are very heavy, block rocks. So, yahan se pura. So, we can ourselves also realize this thing. Maybe I will talk around with the slides. Yes, this is the detail of kitna?
Do you need help looking for a detail?
Huh?
Do you need help looking for a detail? Is it the same thing?
Yeah, ठीक. Look at this detail. This is from where the gable form is coming. Trefoil and the gable form. So these details you won't get in the books. Now we are able to see these details. How much each stone block, whatever has been worked on that, can be seen in this. They had Cunningham also has mentioned some kind of models, small models. And I also noticed this is one of our very important temples outside Srinagar of Devi, called Kheer Bhavani. And so this will be the roof type, the Famsana roof type. It doesn't have the trefoil arch. Trefoil arch would be here because it would not be necessary as a structural thing for when it is carved from a block. So you have to visualize the roof like this based on Famsana concept. And these are the gable shapes. Nothing to do with the pediment. Yes. This is an outline made by, interestingly, by Viknya. He made this outline. Now this is the leitmotif, and I just noted Udgama. This is casually I took it from Ellora caves. The Devkoshta has upper part, this triangular form, which is here. The gable, triangular form derived from the gable. This is how we have it right at the entrance gate. But you also see the destruction. And there would have been several hundred of these, Devakostas all over the building, all over the temple. Now we come to there is a description given which sounds like it is Vishnu by Kak. I refer to the description of details of Hindu icons and decorative motifs from R.C. Kak's book 1933, which have a significance not realized by scholars of the time and also since then up to the present day. The walls of the gateway on the left side of the colonnaded quadrilateral rampart and that of the Mukhamandapa Antarala Garbhagriha, both internally and externally, are systematically carved in slightly deep relief with decorative motifs and human images of the Hindu deities. There are niches with sloping gable top frame in which standing deities have been carved and occasionally amorous couple. I have not noticed any amorous couple, but Kak's book mentions these. These niches are called Devakostas according to Shilpashastras. They don't have these terms at that time. There are rectangular panels in which are carved seated figures, floral scrolls, pairs of geese, etc. Each of this is from the, there are 4 such huge reliefs in the entrance gate. This is the entrance gate. One, there's a partition, and then there's another one on this side. And opposite wall, there will be 2 like that. Each of the 2 large niches in the side walls of the inner chamber of the gateway contains the tall figure of a 3-headed Vishnu standing between 2 attendants. Immediately below is the long rectangular panel decorated with a row of dancing urchins striking a variety of attitudes. We identify them as ganas. Something here. Then, another. Now we come to the Mukhamandapa. So we are entering. This is the arch. Trefoil arch we see in the photos, and maybe this would have Dwarapala, and here is again Vishnu. So actually we are entering, I want you to feel you are entering the Mukhamandap. And what is inside this is also to be noticed. This doorway leads to the side shrines. That is the logic of this. And but this doorway also has same motif on top of it. And there are also 6 figures here. I'll show you close-ups of this and this. And incidentally, the Antarala starts from here. Antarala is very short, very small Antarala. There is a measurement of this, 18 feet or something, and it is square. But I think they have not understood how to measure the Garbhagriha. I'll come to that point. This is the close-up of the first image. If these are seen as 3 heads, I'm not sure if I can see Dharti here, Bhumi, but they have mentioned that this is Vishnu, at least one thing. But they didn't know at that time about the Vaikuntha Vishnu concept. But it is the Vaikuntha Vishnu. been depicted here. And now this is the Antarala. When I saw this for the first time in the pictures, it is interesting that at that time they didn't know about Ganga Jamuna, Nadi Devi's significance. It's difficult because how much destruction is there. Though whether the Makara or the Kachua can be recognized, I am not very sure. So I am not naming them. But these are certainly Nadi Devis in the Antarala part. It's a short Antarala. And you can see the Garbhagriha is on this side because the posture is as if direct in this direction. We are in the opposite side. So we enter and maybe the logic has to be that this is Dwarapala. And there is another image answering to Vishnu on this side. They say the upper part, Naga, funds are there. What could it be? Vishnu with the Anant? I'm not sure. And again, the thickness of the wall is 9 feet of this wall. Again, you see the six-seated figures on this side. Just the close-up of the image this side. We cannot go. We cannot get anything more sharper than what you see. So you can see how much hammering has been done. This is on top, so relatively better, but still how much destruction is there. We think it could be because there is nothing related to sun. Immediately which can strike us. But this could be Adityas. So 6 Adityas seated on this side. But we are only suggesting because it's so high to have any close examination. But notice these interesting details. There are lion faces, and here also, but damaged. We photograph both the sides because here, in the light, under the light and this light and shade effects, they look quite prominent. This is the left wall, the river goddess on the left wall, and it is in this direction. I am, because I have written an article on Gwalior, so I have compared with Gwalior, Gwalior Ganga Jamuna. And you see, we know Yashovarman accepted his suzerainty, and there are 2 court poets from Yashovarman who were invited to come to Kashmir. So I am therefore having this thing in my mind that Lalita Datte could have seen the Telika Mandir. Immediate comparison with the Ganga Jamuna of Telika Mandir struck me. Now the Garbhagriha, there is another, I don't know what exactly happened in the photos of this. This is a middle arch, which is important to notice. You can see the difference in the height. This is the this is Antarala part. Antarala part has the arch. It's a huge arch. This is the height of the Mukh Mandap. This part is higher. And we have an entrance into the Garbhagriha. The ancient, this both Cunningham, also Kak, they are saying Garbhagriha is closed. But please notice the entrance doorway. There is a beam, and there will be 3 doorways here. We have photographed them. And there is an additional wall. Because of the additional wall, they call it closed. The Garbhagriha is closed. But Garbhagriha, all the 3 sides are open, as in the Pandarethan temple. I have not shown you the details of that. But so what measurements should be there? This is a thick wall in front of the arch. This one. And I will like you to see the details of this carving, because door jambs are suggested, and beam also has motifs, carved motifs. There is also an important motif here, which we will see soon. Can we enlarge this? Close up kar sakte hain? The image can be enlarged? How do you enlarge this? This is the beam of the entrance to the Garbhagriha, and jambs. This is all carved. And please see this. This is a continuous pillar, suggestion of a pillar. Yes, this is on this arch. This is the chariot part of the sun. And these are the horses, this chariot, the Arun. This is the only trace of sun god we find here. Now, there is a similar fragment of chariot in the Srinagar Museum, Sri Pratap Museum. And so this is very close, this small carving is very close to this. And also a Surya image in a cave has been found. In a cave near Wooler Lake, there is a Surya image. But this kind of image of Surya is not found in this temple, but just to show how it could have been. And I have just taken Ellora Caves. The carvers knew the technique of carving rock-cut cave temples. That is my contention. And that has again further relevance. Yeah, now I am taking Adhisthana. I will show the slides only. What is the time I have? Yeah, I should have read about Vishnu, 2-3 lines. I will read these 2-3 lines about Vishnu, the Vyuhavada Vishnu, the Vaikuntha Vishnu. 4-face standing Vishnu images personify Vishnu's world-supporting aspect, and also the aspect of covering the vertically tripartite structure of the universe. The Prithvi along with Patala in the lower inclination and reaching out to sky and the heaven above, Bhu Bhuva Swa. Often victorious Hindu kings like themselves to be identified with Vishnu. So that will be the significance of the kind of Vishnu images. Yes, some comments on the plinth and how integral it is to the entire structure. You see the lower uh, कहाँ गया? Anyway, this is the we should not say reconstruction, but how the plinth has been reset. These fallen blocks have been reset, and but the lowermost layer is intact, mostly intact, and this is the lowermost level. I think they were carved in situ. They are not carved blocks, then placed there. They have put the set the lower layer of very solid rock. These must be 5-6 feet in height, almost human height. And there a lot of figures are musicians. You can also see, broadly for this would be Gupta, post-Gupta period style. Not much time to talk about sculpture, but I want to make you feel the sculptural content also of the entire complex. The guides sometimes say this is Krishna playing flute. But it is very interesting that we have music related. There are some blocks where you can see like the Barvahaka often and Ganas, and this is some part of the plinth has been broken. This you can see how. But you can also see the huge things. And then the second row, this is the lower row, this is the second row. Second row has standing seated figures, but it also has this two kinds of gables on top, which is also what we saw in the gateway and also what we saw inside this. So this is the common motif, therefore, which links the outer gateway and also the structure above it. So this cannot be considered separate compared to this and separate from the gateway. Close up of the particularly. Now it means that there would be more blocks available showing this, but they have not really done that is why I think the resetting of the parts of plinth has been handed over to the masons. No architect, no archaeologist was guiding so that this could have been completed. I have noticed particularly this particular image. This is a close-up of this image. This has been identified as a solar image in general. Sometimes sun is never shown riding on a horse, but as if it is sun rising on a horse. But I am suggesting this could be buffalo So this is Yama. Yama is one of the Adityas also. But it's iconographically not very clear. And this, what is sometimes called twisted rope design, this we can see in Ajanta also. I'm not sure if this could be Varaha, but anyway, I have read some descriptions in Vishnu Dharmatara Puran, and so many deities are listed. I was trying if we can identify these deities with what is mentioned in the Vishnu Puran. The locals call it Lakshmi. Maybe she is standing on the lotus, but actually it could also be Parvati, Panchagni Tap. But this is the seat actually of the Hindu deities, because there are fragments like this. So they have not found the head as they assembled it, but this is common. So most of these deities are shown standing on this huge lotus. So that is not very special for the Lakshmi figure. These Adhisthana images are reminding of, I have used Nalanda examples because the viharas, stupas are also built here. So there will be contact with the Nalanda, and so I put these. And also this tripartite, this trefoil arch, we have Indian, it's Indian and not Gandharan, as has been mentioned. Yeah, this is a local Vishnu, this 300 Vishnu or Vaikuntha Vishnu image. More of these have been found in Avantipur. About 1 century later. So Avantipur is more associated with the Vaikuntha image, but Vaikuntha image, Vishnu image is already found in the Martand Temple. There is an inscription in the plinth level or Adhisthana level. It is not very much enlightening, excepting that it is a donation in 11th century. Donation in the name of Vishnu. I was just, I have argued that it is contemporary to such experiments which were going on elsewhere. So I have taken Rhoda example, 8th century, where the Rekha Prasada, the slight curve, is beginning to emerge, whereas Kashmir continues to use the Vamsana pyramidal form. And this happens to be Sun Temple, so I have just put it here. And this upper part is triangular of the Deva Koshtha, so it has nothing to do with the pediment. Yes, I have done some detailed observations on pillars as well as trefoil. But I will just keep showing you from the slides the essence of there's you see, I have, for instance, here what I think most Indian scholars haven't really realized. Doric has no characteristic pillar. It is the elementary, simple, capital. So this should have been already rejected, this theory. And this is from the American Institute drawing of the colonnade, pillars. And we have also stones available. There are stones available of these in the debris that is lying there. And this is the Ionic, this is the Corinthian. There are nothing like this available at all. Uh, and there is also a reference of the lotus leaves band in the Indian Shilpa text, which actually Cunningham knew, but he made this. He gave this title Aryan capital as a fourth variety. As a fourth variety, a variety of Doric in Kashmir, which cannot be, which doesn't hold. He also actually has shown that, you see, the area or height of the capital here and here, it relates to the diameter. So this much of pillar proportion is covered by the capital. And I have an observation, I am quoting, actually Ferguson has made this observation on Cunningham's theory. With reference to Cunningham's theory of Doric pillars, the astute observer of Indian temple architecture, James Ferguson, has said that he has not yet found the use of Doric order pillar in Gandhara, which also would include Kashmir, although both Ionic and Corinthian capital have been found there. He further added that nothing resembling the Corinthian capital of Jamalgadi monastery is found in the Kashmir Valley. Keeping in view the Martand colonnade pillar capital types, which Cunningham classed under the Greek type capital, Ferguson remarked that both the base and the capitals of these pillars are, it is true, far more complicated than would have been tolerated in Greece. So, Cunningham's theory is not consistent with the actual principles of Greek architecture. This is the actually in the Texila and other excavations, you get very little constructed remains of buildings. This is one such remain, and this is Corinthian. This is Ferguson's illustration of Gandhara Corinthian. And incidentally, you see in Gandhara, you will see Sanchi bhi lagaya hai and Corinthian bhi lagaya hai, that kind of thing. And this is our plinth, I mean our colonnade, close up. I thought, when you see a colonnade, Indian colonnade, why you have to think of Greece? So Cunningham sees the Indian colonnade and then he thinks of Greece. And I am thinking of this. So that is why I put this colonnade, to say why your expression has to be, oh, it is looking like Greek colonnade. Again, another part of the, the colonnade is also so grandiose. That is why I am just adding these few things. This is the broken Greek colonnade, just to show the difference. This was again to show the Ajanta connection. And actually, I should have also said these are human face birds, kinnery, some sculptural decoration which is intact in some places. I will quickly want to comment on the trefoil arch. The trefoil arch, like that Willis had said, it is not western, it is eastern. And this Ferguson has also drawn attention, and his own illustrations I am using. There is a point he makes about trefoil arch, that this is the Gandhara. How it comes to Gandhara? He says it comes from India. So Kashmir has not taken it from Gandhara. It is already part of. So these are illustrations in Ferguson's book. I have just put together. What's the illustration number? This is Gandhara, and he shows this is Ajanta cave. I think one is Nasik and one is Bedsa or this. So and also Vishwakarma cave. And I think this is inside Vishwakarma cave. Again, I am coming back to the Mukhmandapa and one of the Ajanta caves. So, the cave design and carvers who are experienced in rock cut caves are also part of this. This is how the prevailing principle is there, and you can see it here. I am happy in our photo. You can also see the blocks, and you can also see the Devkoshtas, and the triangular gable thing. And it is just to expand the gap, the space between the two sides. That this additional thing is there, and it is all corbelling as here. And this is the T stone. This is called the T stone, the last. Now you may ask me, more about the cave. So I thought I'll show you. This is the nearby cave. We couldn't go there because there is no proper, tourist facility there. This is Bumazu. I told you the nearby place for Shraddha and so on. This is near that area. So craftsmen in Kashmir also were. I thought I should show this. This is Mathura Janta, and this twisted rope design you can see here, which I showed you in one of the Devkoshtas of Martand. Again, I can't help, jitna मैं ढूंढता हूँ, I am getting some sample on the other. Again, Nalanda, because you see, there's a story of Lalitanitya having got a Buddha image from Magad. Magad is mentioned, and there's a story about that. So this Magad connection. So I'm focusing on Kanauj collection, or that is Telika Mandir connection, and the Nalanda connection. And because Parihaspura has many stupas, so that is the reason why the Buddhist monuments of Nalanda we are using as source. This is Daki Saab's village from Dank. This. Anyway, I am from Madhya Pradesh. One of the standing, I should mention Debala Mitra. Debala Mitra has some very important observations. She was the Lady Director General many years ago. She has also made reference to this Toranas, Torandwar. So structurally, this would be essentially the trefoil arch at the same time. Yes, this is the capital upside down, remains of the capital. Yeah, now I'm talking of the pediment. This is the renovated Pandretan Temple. All the four sides are open, and you see the gable type. So it is nothing to do with Greek pediment. and it has two bhumis of the Shikhara. The pedimental or Phumsana Shikhara. There is a discussion on the this so-called Chaitya arch, horseshoe arch, is actually a Gavaksha. So Gavaksha, there is a discussion by Stella Cramrish how there are experiments made, and so cusp arch also she is linking with that. Pandrethan, Purana Adishthana, old capital, some part of the Srinagar area. It is now under the, there is a huge cantonment, so we cannot go inside, but it is protected. There is also, see how unreasonable Western scholars can be. Percy Brown has given this illustration. It is a very important illustration of the wooden architecture. In whenever wooden architecture is there, the Malabar, of course this is Phumsana, the pyramidal for Konarak, but the Nepal and the Kashmir, Gop, see the Phumsana Shikhara and connection with the Kashmir and Nepal. Now, Kashmir mosques are still using this kind of series of roofs, the upper roof becoming little smaller, basically the pyramidal here. In old mosques, they were using this, and still in some, when they are repairing, they will follow this. Only in Hazrat Bal, they have put dome and this minar, but otherwise this is still existing. This was built on a Kali Mandir, and they have allowed some sindoor to stay. So this sindoor is still visible there. There was a Kali temple, Shahamdan. This is Shahamdan. So I am using this as part of what Percy Brown is trying to explain. And this is the typical, houses they are making. We took this time a lot of roof designs to show the local architecture. I just want to draw attention this massive repairing that has been happened. Was सोच लीजिए आप, this is the and also why I am saying ये open है, this is the eastern side of the Garbhagriha, and each of these trefoil arches are also accompanying by the doorway, and there is a crack in the beam. Now, as part of how they have repaired the Adhisthana, I think this has been added. This is the same crack we saw, and so it is again, and this is the additional wall from inside. So it is actually open. So the structure would have started from here, the Garbhagriha. I thought, what kind of roof we can have on this? This is our last photograph. We could only stay only once because we were advised not to reach Srinagar in dark, when it is too dark. So we just left. Every day we were leaving before sunset, but this time we stayed, and that sunset effect, how it looks under sunset effect. I put this hypothetically. What it should not be taller than this because it will be over heavy, too heavy. So, and there will be one level of roof here and another level of the Mukhmandap. I have completed. आप मुझे बोलिए बंद करना है तो बंद करता हूँ. This is the, you see what, if you permission दीजिए, मैं, I want to, not so much the Shilpashastra, but this is Sarvato Bhadra. So, you please allow. The description of the advanced stage of Hindu temple design, Sarvato Bhadra, as mentioned in Vishnu Dharmottara Puran. Vishnu Dharmottara Puran has a list of temples which has been mentioned by Stella Cramrish. So I took it from Stella Cramrish, the description of the Sarvato Bhadra, the description of the advanced stage of Hindu temple design, Sarvato Bhadra, as mentioned in the VDP, is worth noting. It so happens there are varied types of descriptions of Sarvato Bhadra temples in the later Shilpa texts. Stella Cramrish, 1946. This establishes that there was scope for modifications and variations. Sarvato Bhadra is a complex of elaborate temple structures raised on a broad square terrace. It is reached by a prakara, that is rampart, which serves as an enclosure in the shape of a quadrangle, consisting of 24 garbhagrahas or single shrines. There are staircases on 4 sides and each flight of steps terminates with a gatehouse. The gatehouse in VDP is called Dwarashobha. I have shown you the entrance gate. In later Shilpa texts, it is given the nomenclature Pratola, whereas in Dravid style temple, where prakaras are usually constructed around the main shrine, the entrance to prakara is known as Gopura. 4 Devkulikas are constructed in the corners of the prakara. By developed stage of temple complex is implied the horizontal extension of the temple by addition of Mukhmandapa, connected by a small antarala and the Garbhagraha Prasada. They are aligned in a central disposition in east and west axis. Besides, water tanks are mentioned as essential adjacent to the temple. VDP also mentions the name of a large number of deities to be worshipped, including Surya. This pertains to the iconographical requirements. Surya is accompanied by Brahma, Shiva, Vasudev, a form of Vishnu. Garuda also represents Surya. In a sun temple, the image of Surya is installed in Garuda shrine, flanked by shrines of images of Dandapingala or Shani, Saturn and Yama. Images of Arun, the charioteer of Surya, Dharma, Artha, Kama, 11 Rudras, 12 Adityas are also listed. Further deities recommended to be accommodated are 8. By comparing these details of Sarvato Bhadra temple of VDP, Stella Cramrish came to the conclusion that Avanti Swami temple of Kashmir, this is the reconstruction of Avanti Swami temple, approximates in sum total the Sarvato Bhadra characteristics. However, it could be added that since the Avantipur located monument, built more than a century later, is based on the model of Martand Sun Temple, this older temple could also be cited as the project for which the Kashmiri Sutradharas had consulted a text like VDP. The east-west axis of the centrally placed complex of temple units with a kunda or Sarvato Bhadra, a water pond in the vicinity, protected by a prakara with additional shrines and the numerous deities assembled, including the reference to Surya-related images, also further establishes that in the essential planning of Martand Temple, there is no Graeco-Roman influence involved. In fact, VDP recommends that one, generally a king, who builds a Sarvatobhadra classified temple complex and properly worships all gods is designated a Chakravartin. Anyway, so thank you so much. And